Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Every once in a while, when it comes to making my homemade MREs, I have to kind of circle back to places where I know I can find the things that I need. And because this place usually has a pretty good variety of things, I find myself going there quite often. And that, of course, is Walmart. Now, before anybody comes into the comments section blasting me about Walmart's corporate practices or the way they treat their employees, I understand that. I get it. I'm not endorsing the company. I'm just showing products. And on that note, I need a moment of silence because I suffered a tragedy this week. As a result of me going to Target to make my recent video, I lost a subscriber. Yeah, I don't really care that much about it. It's just, I figured I'd mention it. Yeah, somebody decided they were gonna come into the comment section and tell me about how they were leaving because they didn't like Target and some of their practices. Look, people, I cannot bow to every ideology out there when it comes to the stores that I'm sourcing these items from. You don't have to buy these things there. What I'm doing is pointing out that they exist and you can get them wherever you can find them. So if you don't care for the company, I'm sorry. But the fact is that companies like Walmart are all over the place. In some communities, they're the only way people can buy things. Fact remains that people need to get the things they need, and sometimes that's what they've got. With that out of the way, let me introduce you to the Dad Budget Adventures Homemade MRE Menu W3. Now, the reason I went back to Walmart to build this particular one was the wife and I were doing some shopping at the neighborhood market one day, and I came across a product that I thought was kind of interesting. So I wanted to be able to build an MRE around that item, for one, so that we could try it and see if it's any good, but also because while this is a pouch food item, a lot of what I've been finding lately is vegetarian. This one is not. This one contains beef. It's just in an unusual format. So I wanted to try this and see what we could do with it. So before we dive into the contents that are in here, let's cover the rules real quick. Other than the fact that for entertainment purposes only, I like to try to source everything I can from the same store for a singular MRE. Rule number one is everything in here has to be able to be eaten straight out of the package. It doesn't mean that's how we're gonna eat it, just gotta be able to do so. Rule number two is everything in here has to have at least a 1-year shelf life or best by date from the day that I buy it. Two reasons for that being, I want to make sure that if this thing goes into storage and I don't get around to eating it for a year, that it's as fresh as can be expected when I do finally get to it. And the second reason is it just makes things more interesting and I have to work a little harder to find these items. Finally, rule number three is the menu. This MRE must have an entree, a side, a walking around snack, a dessert, and a beverage. So all that out of the way, let's get in here and see what this is about. So our entree item was the thing that took me back to Walmart and made me want to do this. I recently stumbled across this Proper and Good red pepper and meatball soup. This actually has meatballs in here, beef meatballs. I love the idea of red pepper soup, and then to add meatballs into it, that just drove it home. This is a single serving pouch and it has relatively low sodium. If you were to eat this whole thing, you'd only be consuming 780 milligrams of sodium. Now, I've said before that I'm not a big fan of soups as a primary entree because they do tend to be mostly liquid. You're gonna get full eating it, but it's gonna pass relatively quickly. So in order to curb that and try to make this into something a little more substantial, I picked up one of these little packs of minute rice. This is just plain white rice. We're gonna add this into that soup so that the rice can kind of absorb some of that liquid, make it feel like you're getting a little more sustenance out of it. Now, before we go any further into the bag, we're gonna throw this stuff into the trucker's lunchbox. I've already got it preheating back here. So we're going to throw both of these in there, let them warm up a little bit so that we can try them as intended. Now, I did suffer a genuine tragedy recently. My trucker's lunchbox suffered an injury. The snap cover on this side broke. You can see there's a tab here and the tab over on this side broke. So the little flip down lock no longer works on this side, but it has not impacted its ability to do the job. And this thing has put up with a lot of abuse for it to finally break. We're gonna get these things in there. That water in there is already hot. Throw that top on, snap it down, and now let's get back into this bag and see what we've got. For our walking around snack, I got something that requires two items to really make it work. One of the things that you're always gonna find in your standard military MRE is peanut butter. Unfortunately, on the civilian market, it's not really made in a way that allows for a long shelf life. But I finally managed to find some of the Jif to go with the proper shelf life on it. I was so glad to finally find it. I have tried over and over again to get this stuff into one of my MREs. And the thing that always kills it is that Best By date. Now, of course, you're not just going to eat peanut butter out of that. I mean, you can just get a spoon and eat it straight out of there and you'll be fine. But it seems a little savage, don't you think? So what I got to go with that is these baked apple chips. I thought these would be a perfect vehicle for getting that peanut butter into my mouth. And who doesn't like peanut butter and apple? So looking forward to testing that option out and seeing how it's going to work out. For our dessert, I picked up this Chex Mix cookies and cream bar. I went through so many things trying to find the right dessert for this meal. A lot of times what I was running into was that shelf life issue. I'm always getting people commenting about what shelf life means and all that kind of stuff, or Best By dates and what have you. And I get it. I understand it. It's part of the test, okay? It's part of the process for how I pick out these items. I find a lot of times that if I don't take the first thing that I find, if I keep digging, a lot of times I find things that are more interesting. But anyway, I love Chex Mix. I love cereal bars. I think this is going to be a good choice for our meal. And finally, we have our beverage. This time I picked up the Nestle Taster's Choice Instant Coffee Hazelnut. Now, instant coffee is so hit or miss. I've had so many bad experiences and experiences with it, but I'm going to keep trying it. I'm going to keep letting y'all know what I think of it. But understand something, that coffee is a very individual experience. Some people love things that I can't stand, and vice versa. I've had a lot of people tell me that some of the coffee that I thought was nasty, they thought it was great. Now there's other stuff like that vanilla bomb that everybody I've talked to says, that stuff is awful. And people hate the company that makes it anyway, so that makes it okay, I guess. So anyway, we're going to try this, see how that turns out. Now, I do have one little bonus item in here. One of the coolest things about what Walmart has been doing lately is if you poke around long enough, you'll find a little end cap full of dollar hot sauces and different flavored sauces. And for this particular kit, I picked up this Kinder's hot sauce. This is fire roasted jalapeno. I figured, why not throw something in there that'll let me kick this thing up a notch and make it just a little hotter. So that's everything that's in the kit. Now I'm going to go get some water going so I can make this coffee, and then we're going to start trying these items out and see if it's any good. All right, so you know what we need for our coffee. It's the Dad Budget Adventures Bling Mug, the official, unofficial mug of the Dad Budget Adventures channel. Let's tear into this and get it mixed up so we can dive into the other things in this kit. The coffee smells really good. That hazelnut really comes through. That's really nice. I hope it tastes as good as it smells. Let's get one of our bamboo sporks out of here. I get a lot of questions about these, and as well as some of the other items that I use. And I'll just go ahead and tell you this because a lot of people apparently just don't think to look there. Down in the description box, I have affiliate links for most of the products that I use in this video. The bags, the sporks, the trucker's lunchbox, all those things are linked in the description box, and they'll take you to the actual item that I use, not just a similar item. So let's get this stirred up. The coffee smells great. I really hope this tastes good, but we're not going to drink it just yet. First thing I need to do is try this walking around snack. We're going to try out our peanut butter and apple chips. I love the smell of peanut butter. There are so many things you can do with that. One of my lifelong favorite recipes is some peanut butter cookies that my mom started making when I was a kid, and I have been making them ever since. My family loves them. All you need is 3 items, and one of each of those items. You need a cup of peanut butter, a cup of sugar, and 1 egg. Mix those items up, put them onto a baking sheet, smash them down with a fork, bake them for about 13 minutes. You've got the best peanut butter cookies you're ever gonna have. And they make a great foundation piece for doing other creative things with them. It's cooking with Dad Budget Adventures. You're welcome. My biggest fear with getting these chips was that I was going to open them up and they were just going to be crumbs, but they're actually fairly good sized pieces. They're rippled cut, which is interesting. I did not expect that. Probably says, no, it doesn't say on the label. Not a whole lot of smell to it. I can pick up on the apple, but you can tell this thing is baked down to the point where there's just not a whole lot left to it. So let's try this. Let's see, for starters, can I dip with that chip, or am I going to have to use my spork? Oh no, these dip great. Look at this. There we go. That's a taster bite right there. All right, we're going in. with our baked apple chips and peanut butter. Oh, that is a 11 out of 10 right there. That is so good. That is a perfect blend right there. That is happy food. And that's something you can give that to the kids. You can give that to Meemaw. You can give it to anybody. And as long as they're a fan of peanut butter, they're going to love that. That is so good. Let's get another chip. I need more of that. That works out really well. Not having to mess up any utensils or anything. Just get in there and scoop it out. That's so good. I think y'all are going to have to sit here and watch me eat the rest of this. So settle in. Here we go. What, you got someplace to be? Hey, okay, I'll stop. It's perfect. That's so good. All right, let's try this coffee. I'm not sure how it's going to be chasing that, but let's give it a shot. It really does smell good. I can just sit here and hold this like this and just enjoy the aroma. Here we go. I don't know if it's that I still got some of the peanut butter and apples in my mouth, but this is really surprisingly smooth. That chases the peanut butter and apples so well. There's not a conflict going on here. I do not mind this at all. All right, so far, I'm a fan. I hope that continues when we get out the soup. And that time has come because we've tried everything that we can try. Well, wait a minute. There's still some of these left. All right, let's get this soup out, mix it in with the rice, see what we got. Hot, hot, hot. All right, let's open this up and see what greets us inside this package. It's a surprisingly difficult package to open. I feel like if I really just rip at it, it's going to go everywhere. Oh, wow. That smells wonderful. If it tastes anything like it smells, this is going to be a treat. It's got a very rich Italian smell to it. The first thing that comes to mind when I smell this is lasagna for some reason. I don't know what it is about the combination that's in here, but it just smells like lasagna. That's quite wonderful. I like that. Now this is what I had in mind for how I would serve this if I were just eating this out of a kit. I didn't want to mess up any dishes or anything. Let's see how this is going to go. So I'm just going to add this rice into the pouch, see how much of it's going to fit and how much of it I'm going to get all over the back of the camper. Looks like I'm going to get it all in there. It was close, but it got in there. All right, we're going to mash this down into the pouch. All right, so let's get this down into there, stir it in really good, and you can see that we can successfully eat this out of the pouch. But for those of y'all naysayers, the ones that cry every time I use a dish, we can eat it this way. But that's not to say that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put it in a bowl so that I can show you what we're dealing with without dumping it all over the ground. I'll throw it into the old Hydro Flask bowl. You can see kind of how it's thickened up considerably. It's still very wet, but it's thickened up a lot. And I think that is going to be more of a belly filler than the soup would be if we just ate it as is. So here's what we've got. You can see the soup. There's our meatballs. They're kind of small. I hope they're more beef than textured vegetable protein, because I kind of feel like we're going to get in there. It's going to be the typical Chef Boyardee type thing. But this does smell really good, and I hope that it is. So I'm going to get a bite with everything. We're going to get a meatball. We're going to get some soup. We're going to get some rice. We're going to see what we've created here. The first bite is good, but it's not outstanding. The meatballs are heavily seasoned, which is surprising. They do have a lot of chew to them, so I do think they are more beef than anything else. So if there are additives in there, I think the beef is the primary thing, which is kind of good. The second bite is growing on me a little bit more. The taste is not bad. It's got a good flavor to it. It's a very Italian kind of taste overall, but I do like it. I'd do it again. Now, we do have something back here to try out with this and see if it's going to make it better. Remember our hot sauce? Let's see what hot sauce does for this stuff. Now, before I add it in there, I do want to try just the hot sauce by itself. See how it is. It smells good. It smells a little more on the Mexican side than the Italian side, so we'll see how that's going to work. That's got... Ooh. That one got up my nose. It does have a more Mexican flavor to it, so we'll try a little bit in the soup, see what we end up with. Let's just add some over here. Give this a go. I think it'll be fine without it. The flavors clash just a little bit. I'd hope that the smoked jalapeno would be more of the dominant flavor, but it does have more of a southwestern kind of tone to it. It doesn't work as well with the Italian flavors that are in this soup. So we're not going to use the rest of that. We are going in for another bite though. I think that is absolutely a viable option. I think there are things that might make it taste a little bit better. If you were to add something like the Parmesan wisps or something like that into your kit to throw in with that. I tried to do that, but unfortunately Walmart wasn't carrying anything except the big bags of it. And I didn't really want to load a giant bag into this kit. But if you can find the smaller packets of it, something like that would be great. Or if you have something like the little packets you get at Italian restaurants with the Parmesan cheese, red pepper flake, things like that, that would go a long way with that stuff. I do want to try something though, because I've got the hot sauce and I just want to test the waters on something. Got rice in my peanut butter. It sounds weird, but we're going to try this out just because we can. Apples with peanut butter and roasted jalapeno hot sauce. I don't know if I trust the results on that. I'm not going to say that's the next big thing. I will say, though, that that is such an interesting and unique taste, and I don't hate it at all. That extra little bit of heat with the apple and with the peanut butter, that's different, and I like it. You just never know what you're going to get here, folks. All right, we got one more thing to try, and that is our Chex Mix Cookies and Cream. You know, cookies and cream, to me, has kind of gotten to the point of just being overdone. I love Oreos. I like just plain Oreos, but I don't know why it is that people think they need to bust them up and cram them into everything. But we're going to give this a try. It looks good. I mean, I can see the Oreos or the chocolate sandwich cookies in there. Oh, maybe I fried my senses with that other stuff, but this thing has almost no smell at all. That's a little weird. Or maybe I caught the plague. I don't know. Okay, let's give this a try. I mean, it's good. So here's the thing. These Chex Mix cereal bars are good, but I feel like they're just trying to do too much. I don't see that the cookies and cream really adds anything to the Chex Mix bars. It's not great. It doesn't just jump out at me and go, oh, this is amazing. And as much as I like Oreos, I don't think they really brought anything to this. And don't get me wrong. I don't dislike it. It's tasty. It's just, I just think it's too much. I think it could be just fine just as it is without cookies and cream. So if you haven't already done so, go over and look for me on Instagram. I post things over there that I don't post here, especially if I'm about to be doing an event or something where I'm going to be making an appearance. Also check me out on TikTok for as long as it exists. I'm over there. But I think that's going to wrap it for this video. I'm going to finish up this coffee and get a little bit more of that soup in me. So I hope you've enjoyed this venture back into Walmart. We've got a couple of really cool things coming up. I just got back today from a road trip that I specifically did to go MRE shopping. Not only do I have new MREs from places I don't have locally, I filmed a good bit of the journey so that you can see what's involved in my process. So if that sounds like something you're looking forward to seeing, leave me a comment and tell me about it. Also, let me know if you've tried any of this stuff. The company that makes this has a couple other items that look pretty interesting. They do a chili, which I thought about trying. So if you've tried those, let me hear about it. Also, if you have a store that you can think of that you'd like for me to try to do one of these at, I may not have it near me, but I do travel, and sometimes I travel just to do this. If it's something within a reasonable distance, I might just go there. But for now, this is going to wrap this one up. And until the next one, prepare for the world you live in, not the one you wish existed. See you around. Cheers.